because we have some stuff on Age of Wonders, and I want to pull up an Age of Wonders Dev Diaries link. Okay. No. Oh, pre-orders are available. There's the news. Let me find the recent Dev Diary we have here.
The most recent one was just on music, which, like, it's cool, but...
Oh, really? Okay.
The last two were art and then music. The music is the most recent one.
Okay. I was going to bring up one of the links, so let me just go ahead and get that link. It's this video instead. I'm going to pull up a YouTube video instead, my friend. So, let's just bring up this YouTube video because the developer of this game... Who's the developer again?
Triumph Studio.
Thank you.
They are in the Netherlands.
Right. So, Triumph Studios has done a wonderful job of doing live streams and playing their game on the live stream. Obviously, it's a curated situation where they play as a specific race, and they'll play as a...
It's not really curated. Like, the race selection was done by a community poll.
Yeah, okay. Community poll. But,
yeah.
So they have their race, and I don't know other way to put it. I'm just going to say their race and their identity, which we have mystic elves in our...
Culture. Culture is the term.
Culture, got it. So we have our mystic culture and elves as the race, which, yeah, culture, that's it. So, obviously, I don't think we should, like, jump through this video and watch, because it's a long video, because it's from a live stream. But this game is coming out in less than a month.
Yep, May 2nd.
Mm-hmm. So...
I think it's 3 weeks from Tuesday, probably, so...
Yeah. Without diving into the nitty-gritty of the game, this is a 4X game. A 4X game from Triumph, Paradox Publishing. This is a highly customizable 4X game. You can pick a myriad of races, cultures, which you're seeing on the screen right now, and you can combine them in various ways, which is it's really interesting compared to something like Civ, and even, I mean, Humankind is a little bit is more customizable even than Civ, but like...
Yeah, Humankind has a little bit more because you have each era you get to pick a new...
You get to pick a new
culture.
Yeah.
But this game, like, it has that, it kind of has that with the tome system, the tomes of magic.
Right.
But the intro customization is very deep. In Humankind, you just start as, like, generic,
right.
Hunter-gatherer nomad, right? Like,
let me just jump through the intro. Let's jump through the intro really fast. So, you pick a physical form, which, I mean, I said race.
There's 10 in the game by default.
Right, so there's 10. So you can pick one of the 10. Then you pick culture.
Yeah. Oh, and with the body shape or your form, you get 2 traits. There's a physical trait and a mind trait, which every one of them has one set by default. Every one of the races, but you can also customize that if you want.
I feel like Elfkin would have I think keen-sighted is probably the one they get. I imagine
they have
keen-sighted,
and I don't remember what the mind trait is, but
body trait, which it's kind of interesting. You get like body traits, like more customization.
The default ones are what you would expect for that race. Like, elves have like keen-sighted, dwarves are like hardy. They're tough and hardy, basically.
Of course,
stuff like that. So
you pick that, then you pick a culture, and then once you've gone through,
there's six cultures. As you can see.
So you go through the culture. You have societal traits.
Yep, you get 2 of those.
Yep. Which, if you're picking a mystic culture, you're probably going to go through the mystic ones.
Yeah, you don't have to though.
So they didn't. They picked chosen, uniters, and gifted casters.
So 1 mystic 1 and 1 order 1. So yeah, and you're seeing these, like, there's these 6 affinities: order, chaos, nature, materium, astral, and shadow.
Yeah.
So those 6 affinities, which are part of the game as well.
Yeah. So you go through that. And you go through... I mean, it's just like... It's a lot of introductory to get your whole society set up. But
and
this is like the basis for how you're playing.
And they have like default pre-made races. If you don't want to do this rigmarole and make your own race, you can pick one of the pre-made one. You can pick a pre-made one.
Oh, I imagine, yeah, there's some pre-made stuff, I imagine. But then you have your tomes. So choose your first tome. They're choosing their first tome. I don't remember what they chose, like warding. I don't remember what they chose in this one.
Remember. I think they picked
evocation. Okay.
Yeah.
So they picked evocation, and then to top it all off, you have your ruler. So in this case, they have champion and wizard king. I think they picked. Didn't they pick wizard king here? Pretty sure they picked wizard king. Or did they pick champion? They might pick champion.
The Mystic Elves was a champion, I think.
Was a champion? Okay, they picked champion. So they have their champion, and then they're customizing their champion here with their unicorn mount. So they're gonna, you go through that. That was the appearance. Yep, and then they just finalize it. I think they just give names and such. Oh yeah, and you get the title. So they call the Rainbow Queen.
Yeah, Rainbow Queen.
Rainbow
Trixie
Queen.
Stardust.
And then your game starts, and there you are. So it's a lot of introduction to get your society set up if you don't choose a pre-made, but it's kind of cool. It's a lot of customization that you really don't see often with the more popular 4Xs, which makes it interesting and intriguing for replayability, because you kind of set up your own how do I want to put this, like your own story. Like you get to create your own story here, which is really great. Like with something like Civ, for example, if you're playing as America, you're playing as America. There's really no story behind it. But here, like, I can customize, they had the evil toads. So they had evil toads as their, like, story. And they just went with evil toads. Like, okay, well, like, what would be the best evil toad route? What would be the best Mystic Elves route? They had the dwarves, too. Like, what would make the most sense for dwarves? Well, dwarves, hardy, industrious, you can come up with your own story, which is cool. That's like a cool concept to build off of your game. It's like, okay, well, I've decided I'm going to be the sneaky ratkin, the rat race. A lot of cool stuff there. So that was one thing that stood out to me. I don't like laser focus on these videos. They're usually background noise for me.
Yeah.
But the things that stood out to me most are obviously the beginning, where you customize your character and all that. I think the combat situations are really good. I like going into that turn-based combat scenario where you get to, when you actually play it, without doing the auto resolve.
Tactical combat.
I mean, turn-based combat.
But they differentiate the two layers of the game, right? There's the strategic layer, which is the world map,
right,
and like the normal 4XF, and then there's the tactical layer, which is the battles.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah. The level of detail on the map is the other thing I found interesting. There's a surface and underground world, which I find really interesting. So there's two sides to that. Those things kind of stand out the most to me. Obviously, like, it's a 4X game, so there's quite a bit of strategy. There's quite a bit of pre-planning out your path, micromanagement. Like they show in the live stream, and it's indicative of how the game works. Is you're taking your time. You don't just like hit the end turn button really quickly. They're like, oh well, we're not, like, I think several times, like, our magic, our resource is not building fast enough. We're not getting enough, per turn.
Yeah.
So we have to focus on that. So we're gonna try and get that going again. We're going to try and increase that. Yep. Or they're like, we want to get more production, so we have to build something that gives us production. We want to explore and clear out monsters, so we're going to do that. Like, I mean, it's definitely a game you're taking your time on, but from what I saw, I like it. I like I like all the various, like, monster clearing and having, like, a champion, like a hero unit. A lot of that was super interesting watching it and listening to their commentary of it. So, like I said, but I didn't necessarily dive into the details of every single move they were making. It was all background noise. I just focused on what I found interesting. But, going through some of the dev diaries and going through the streams, the live streams I'm talking about, it's a very interesting game. It sounds really intriguing. It's like got a lot of good stuff to it. I'm trying to think of possible negatives, and I think the only things I can think of is if you're not willing to take your time, you probably just shouldn't play this. This is a slow game. This is a super slow game. You gotta really like.
That is true for any 4X game. The games are long.
It reminds me of trying to play Risk when I was younger. You start playing, you're excited, you're all like focused on it. You play for a few hours, and then you guys decide, okay, I think we need to pause.
Yeah,
but that's the problem with Risk, is you always pause the freaking game, and you never finish it. I think one thing you have to think about with games like this is, what is the time to completion for a full game? These live streams, they're not completing the thing. It's 2 hours. You're not completing.
They're nowhere. And they played
close.
They played another 2 hours, and they're still nowhere close.
They're nowhere close
to completing the game.
So,
and I think as a player, you would play a little bit faster than this, because they're commenting.
Right, they're doing commentary.
They're doing commentary on it, so it'll be a little bit faster. But like, yeah, generally in 4X games, you're looking like minimum 4 hours for a game, but usually like 6, 8, 10, something like that.
So this is my worry. How long does a game take to complete? Obviously, for some people, it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to ask, if you're trying to tell somebody, oh yeah, like you should try this game, Age of Wonders, they might have some interest in it. You know, it's like, for me, it's a potential risk problem. That's always a problem for me, is the risk problem. It's like they should just call it my curse. I have the risk curse. It's like you go through it, you pause it, and you're like, I don't want to finish this. Risk is too long. And nobody wants to finish it because we can't all get together and finish the damn game. So this, to me, I'm worried about that. They have yet to play a full completed game, and I want to see how long it takes. If it takes, I don't remember like Humankind or Civilization total playtime to finish a game, but I don't recall Humankind being more than like, I want to say 4 to 6 hours. I don't think it was longer than that. I don't think it was.
That sounds about right. Maybe eight on the top end for Humankind.
I feel like if Age of Wonders takes longer than 8 hours, I'm a little concerned. I always get concerned through playtime to finish a completed run. Because at the same, like, the biggest worry is, it's not for the players that are like, let's say you're like a Total War kind of player. Like, you're gonna expect a really long runtime of a game.
Oh yeah.
But
like Total War campaigns take like 40 hours to complete.
Yeah, they do. Those are long ass things.
That game actually has, from what I've heard, has big time like campaign finishing issues, because like you get to a point in a Total War campaign, and I guess this happens in 4X games as well, but they're not quite as long.
Right.
Where you get to a point where you're like, well, I've won, but I just have to like wait or like just keep playing until I've fulfilled all my objectives or gotten to the final turn or whatever. Our arbitrary point of like my victory condition or whatever it is, and you're just playing like an extra couple of hours just basically mashing end turn until you win the game. Like, okay.
Which is like, yeah, but that's a concern. So I think my biggest concern with this game is, how long does it take to complete it? I don't know if they've said it. I certainly haven't seen it in these live streams, it's fair that they have it in a live stream. I think it's totally fair that they have it, but it would be very interesting if they actually explained it.
I don't think we'll see them complete a game in a live stream.
No, we won't. But I do think it would be interesting for them to say, on average, from our testing, it's taken X hours. Yeah. That's my biggest concern with this game. It's a huge concern. It's like, okay, am I going to get risk? Am I going to get the risk factor of like, well, shit, like I'm 8 hours in, and I'm like, what's how much longer is this going to be? I don't know. I don't know if that's a major issue. I mean, if you're used to 4X games, you're probably like, that's okay though. That's what I expect. But I don't know. Other negatives I wasn't necessarily focused on. I just liked a lot of stuff. Like, I like the hero unit. I like the combat, going into that turn-based combat system. I really haven't seen a lot of, like, they went to war with another faction yet. Maybe I wasn't paying close attention. I haven't seen them go to war with other factions a lot.
Yeah, in the
mostly
in
monster fighting.
Yeah, in the second stream of the Mystic Elves playthrough, they do go to war with another faction, but they don't ever fight them because the faction that they go to war with is on the other side of the map, and they just go to war with them because they went to war with their ally, basically.
Yeah,
so it was just like, yeah.
Which is like, okay.
But also in this playthrough, specifically this playthrough, the Mystic Elves one, they're going a diplomacy route. They're trying to be the nice guys and like, you know, be diplomatic with everybody, basically.
But that's assuming the opponent wants to be diplomatic.
Yeah, you're gonna run into people sometimes that are like, yeah, we can't really be friends with this person.
I'd like to see war. I'd like to see them go into a dev stream and actually curate it and go, okay, we have a situation where we're the Mystic Elves and we've just gone to war with the evil toads, whatever it is. Here's how it would play out. We're gonna play out 10 turns of it just to see how war might play out between two factions who are fairly close to each other.
Yeah.
And how we would see that happen.
In the Evil Toad stream, which again they didn't continue, unfortunately, they were like, I don't think they officially declared war, but they were on the verge of war with like their neighbor at the end of that stream.
Right.
And it was gonna happen because they were both fighting for that like ancient wonder that was south of their capital. They were about to go to war if they hadn't already gone to war, but they didn't actually. But they didn't. They didn't actually fight them yet. So,
I'd like to see that. Haven't seen it yet. Obviously they may not get to it, and that's okay. It'd be interesting though if they had a live stream that they curated a bit more. Went, okay, we're gonna do, or they just made a video. They said, here's a 30-minute video or something of us going to war with the evil toads. Like, here's 10 turns of it. Check it out.
Yeah.
Missing that.
I know there's supposed to be like there's sieges in the game as well, and we haven't seen that at all.
Haven't seen it. Would like to see it. Like, that seems like it's a part of the game. We need to see that. I've seen a lot of early game creating your faction and starting early game. I haven't seen a lot of like, here's mid to end game mid into end game.
Yeah,
haven't seen a ton of it.
We saw in the second Mystic Elves stream, they got into a few of the tier 2 tomes, I think, but we haven't seen. There's up to tier 5. There's tier 3, 4, and 5 tomes. So yeah,
we haven't seen that. I think you're a month away. You gotta get some kind of, whether it's video or live stream, and go, okay, we understand that we're doing this with the community, but we've decided to curate this one to show this is like, we are past mid-game tome 4. Here's what it looks like to have like this sprawling empire, and we're like
with OP units.
With OP units. Our hero's crazy strong. We have really strong spells.
My hero's level 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Here's that. I'm missing that. So that's my feedback for the game so far. Is less maybe necessarily with the game, but more like the presentation of it so far. Like, we just talked about how Diablo, they gave like a 5-minute video of their end game, like, brief overview. Wasn't satisfactory because they didn't do a good job of presenting the best foot forward for it with the Paragon system. But they're presenting the end game as like, here's what you should expect. I don't think I've seen that yet here from Triumph. I need that, like, soon. I need to know, because we said a month away. I'm gonna say this: you're 3 weeks away. I'm saying you're 3 weeks away.
You're pretty much 3 weeks away. Almost.
So
it's what, 23 days. So
yeah, I mean, really,
you're 3 weeks and 2 days.
Either next week or like even maybe next week. By next week, show me some endgame or talk to me about it.
Yeah, I think we'll see, but I'm pretty sure. So like a month ago or so, maybe even a little more than that, the they gave codes to a bunch of content creators, and they were allowed to show the faction creation, and a bunch of content creators showed them creating their own faction, yada yada. They weren't allowed to actually play the game though, not on stream. Like they were able to play the game behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the curtain.
They couldn't. Maybe they could talk about it, but they couldn't show it. They weren't allowed to show it at all.
Yeah, sure.
I'm pretty sure those streamers and maybe Triumph have also said that on the, I think it's the Saturday before, so yeah, the 22nd and the 29th, which are both Saturdays.
Yep.
So not this coming Saturday, but the following one, and then the one right before the game comes out.
Yep.
Those content creators are going to be able to release actual gameplay content. If that content includes a full game, we don't know, but I would hope so, that we would actually be able to see them play an entire game.
I feel like somebody's going to release an end game at least, like maybe in chunks. Yeah. They'll release like a series of videos. I'd like to see that. I'm missing that. I have a lot of things that I think are going to be really positive with this game. I don't necessarily feel like slow games are my forte, but at least like it's interesting. What I'm seeing is really interesting. That being said, haven't seen Endgame. I'm not getting a sniff of it at all, frankly, from them. It's a little worrying that I haven't heard anything about it from them. I mean, at least with Diablo, they gave us like some nuggets. I haven't gotten anything here. I'm a little disappointed about that. You don't have to tell me everything, but it's like, okay, like, here's what you can expect in Endgame, and maybe just give some details of a playthrough they've done to get into Endgame. Like, here's what our champion's doing. Here's what our characters look like. You know, look how cool it is when your starting faction gets to the end game. Like, I
think part of it is they don't want to show everything. They want to leave some things for the players to just like play for themselves and discover. But I don't know.
That's fair, but at the same time, I do appreciate when you at least give a sneak peek. Give me a snack.
You want a sneak peek.
Yeah, I want a snack. Like, I want a snack. You don't have to show me everything. You don't. But you can show me a little. Like, you can show me a little. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to give your player a sense of, like, why would I, like, what do I see at endgame? You can just show a snapshot. You don't have to show me every faction, every situation. Like,
I start with this, like, template of this like cool faction that I created, but like what can I do with the, like, by the end, how epic is my empire and my faction,
right?
You know,
like and I'd appreciate that, because if I get a box of Legos and it's just like a big box, like, but look at how many Legos you have, like, there's a lot of stuff you can do with these Legos if you just do this. Like, you can get the startings of a cool thing for Legos, or you can show me a box with a picture of what the end product is, and go, like, check this out. Check out final product. Okay, sounds good. Like, that's interesting to me. Now I want to get there. That's the only negative I have. I know it was a long time to get there for me explaining that, but I think a lot of stuff looks cool from the stuff you shared with me. I know we've talked about it a couple times, but never gotten to dive into detail. There's a small piece I'm missing, but, like, actually creating a faction looks great. And the champion, like, actually having, like, a champion that you can build out and just, like, focus on is also cool. I like that idea. Cool ideas. But I want to see a big empire. Like, one picture. So I want to see it. Like, is like an empire couple cities? Like, 12? Like, is that the empire? Like, what does that look like on the map? Also, what about, like, surface to underground? Like, how does that, what's the relationship with that, to the degree of, like, there are some dwarves underground and then they popped up to the surface and sieged immediately. I don't know. I'd be really curious to see the relationship of that even further. It's cool, like, it's cool, but I think
in the Evil Toads one, there was an underground, like, entrance on the map, basically, where it's like, okay, this is a point where you can, like, transition between underground and above ground. So
kind of interesting. Anyway, that's my overall thoughts on the whole thing. I don't necessarily focus on the nitty-gritty detail of each step that they took with that. I mean, it's a 4X game. Like, I saw a lot of 4X stuff in there. With the build, with the city
building, unit
production, like,
diplomacy.
Yeah, I see a lot of that. I don't necessarily think that, like, I'm not going to focus on that. I just want to focus on stuff that look unique and interesting. So,
yeah.
that's my thoughts on this. It looks great though. I'm getting it. I'm gonna get this game. Everything about it looks cool, so I'm interested. Haven't pre-ordered it. I know pre-orders went live last week. Haven't pre-ordered it, but looks great.
Pre-orders went live like a month ago, but yeah.
Did they? Oh yeah, I think the thing I saw said March actually. I don't know why I thought April.
Yeah.
But March. But yeah, haven't pre-ordered it yet, but interested. Definitely gonna get this.
Yeah. No. I'm kind of with you on everything you said. I see what you're saying about Endgame. I'm not sure I need to see Endgame personally before I play it. Though I do agree it would be cool to see like what an Endgame Empire looks like, and maybe a sneak peek at some Endgame units and Endgame spells and stuff like that.
If they don't show it, I'm fine with it. Overall, like, it's not going to stop me from buying it. I just want to see a sneak peek. Just show me a little screenshot.
Yeah.
Show me what I can do.
But yeah, I think as you talked about, the big kind of plus with this game, the unique thing about this game that's making it really interesting is just the deep customization of the game.
Right.
Not only in the faction creation, but then once you get into the game itself, you can continue to evolve your factions by picking different tomes. So like, yes, you could hyper focus on like one or two different affinities, or you can kind of rainbow it and pick like a whole bunch of different stuff.
Right.
And see what you want to do.
Yeah.
And see how that works for like your faction. And you can also, you don't have to make the generic like, high elves, right? You can make hardy dwarf-like elves, right? You could make...
Well, there's such a thing as industrious elves, too. Like, elves
it's
being
true.
good at, like, smithing and forging, not necessarily unheard of. But, like, the point is, like, you don't have to just pick the default high elves. You could have, like, dark elves.
Exactly.
Or, like,
you can have dark elves.
The smithing type of...
Smithing, elves maybe, but, like, okay. You can take a race like orcs or goblins, which are typically always like evil, like barbarian, whatever. You could make magic goblins or magic orcs, or just good high orcs, good the
benevolent orcs,
the benevolent seekers of good orcs. Like,
I like mystic goblins. That's in my pocket now. Mystic goblins is that.
Mystic rat. What about mystic rats or mystic
rats are good. Mystic rats are good.
I
don't know, mystic goblins. Something about goblins with mystic is really good. But yeah, point being, like, you can default to something that you would expect, or you can be like, let's just do something crazy. Let's do like, what about barbarian elves? What a weird concept.
Yeah, barbarian.
What
elves.
Is that? What does that? What does that look
elves.
like? Like elves that are more nomadic kind of, but like aggressive. That's like, what is that? What does that look like? So I'm with you.
So yeah, the sort of depth of customization in the game, you kind of just do whatever. Obviously, you can't do whatever you want. That you're limited to the option that the game provides you. But there are quite a lot of options.
Oh yeah.
With more on the way.
With DLC.
Which they have already announced, not the specifics, but at least the general outline of 4 DLC packs over the first year of the game. Which are, the first one is Dragon's Dawn, so it's like Dragonkin and like Lizardmen, dragons, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Then there's, what's it called, like Empires and Ashes, which sounds like it's, again, the details that they gave are a little vague, but it's it sounds like it's going to be like industrial, like gunpowder and machines, basically, is like the thing. So a little bit higher tech than like the what the game is right now, which is kind of like high fantasy, and now we're getting into like a little bit of like steampunk punky with some maybe some like, I won't say mechs, but like some mechanical units
industrial
and like
era
some guns and like, you know, gunpowder and cannons and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
So that's the second one. The third one I think is called like Primal Fury, so that's just more into like, I think like Fey Realm and more like nature, even more nature stuff. There is like a nature affinity already in the game, but they'll dive more into that.
Yep.
And the last one was like, oh, what was it called? It's like Astral something, but it sounded like kind of like Astral Sea, Astral Plane type creatures and like that kind of stuff.
Got it.
That one was the last one, so that's the furthest out, so that had like the least details on it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like a year out potentially. Yeah. So yeah, of course. They're probably not even working on it. So
they have 4 DLC packs planned out for basically the first year of the game coming out, and as you said, the game is available for pre-order. The base game is $50. And if you buy the premium edition, that gives you a season pass basically, so you get all 4 DLCs for an additional $40 plus some pre-order bonuses so $90 total for the premium edition.
Right.
The DLCs by themselves, 2 of them are $10 and the other 2 are $20, so that's $60 for the DLCs if you buy them.
Okay, so you're saving $20.
A la carte.
You're saving $20.
So if you're planning on buying all the DLCs, you're gonna want to buy the if you like the game enough.
You probably just get the $90 version.
Then just get the $90 version. I would assume I would hope at least there's going to be an option if you just buy the base game to just buy this, like later down the line, you can just buy the season pass for an additional $40 to just bundle all the DLCs together. If you want to like try the game out first and see if you actually like it. And then if you do like it, then you can buy the DLCs. I pre-ordered it earlier this week and I bought the premium edition because everything I've seen of this game to me looks freaking incredible. Like, this game looks amazing to me. It looks so good. And yeah, the other thing you can do, by the way, with the faction customization, and there's been on the Age of Wonders 4 Reddit page, somebody made a website that's like it's a little like app, and it basically puts the faction customization options into the app.
Yeah, sure.
So you can like make your custom factions, and you know, a lot of people have been making things from media, basically, right? You know, like your Lord of the Rings factions, you know, and you know, all the things that you kind of expect people, and then other stuff. Like for me, the Holy Empire of Britannia, led by Emperor Lelouch V. Britannia.
Somebody's gonna there's gonna be several people doing that.
Though now that I know that, like, I feel like I almost want to wait until to get the gunpowder stuff and the machines in there for the
Lelouch V. Britannia route.
For Lelouch V. Britannia, but yeah. But anyways, yeah. So you can make your favorite character or faction from your favorite, you know, movie, game, anime,
any media,
book.
I mean, any media,
like in this game with the tools that they have, and you know, play and evolve your faction and conquer the world and whatever way you want. So.
I mean, it's nice to get a sandbox. Like, people like sandboxes. It makes for a lot of interesting things. It makes for good content, by the way. It makes things interesting, and it's fun. I mean, like, it's fun. Like, it's fun messing around. So it's something I like compared to something like Civ. Humankind obviously expanded upon that. This is like taking it to a whole new level.
It's the next level.
This is like next level. Here's your sandbox. It's a beach. Like, you're just like, I mean, like, oh, okay.
It feels like this was a little bit like inspired by Stellaris. Stellaris has like a pretty in-depth faction customization system as well, but that game is like kind of old. You know, you don't get all the 3D graphics on like the leader and stuff like that. They're kind of more like 2D portraits.
Right. Yeah, and
then obviously that's a sci-fi game, so
you
know, you can customize your ships, but like you just have ships basically.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So yeah, this is, you know, tackling the, you know, land-based high fantasy, with pretty, they're not the best graphics out there, obviously, but like the game looks really nice. It's really colorful. The style is really nice. Like,
it's good. Like, I think it's good. I think it looks good. I just don't think it's like perfect, but
yeah.
I mean, like, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's not like good. It's not God of War or these super high fidelity like graphic games, but it's also a 4X game, so it's meant to be played zoomed out, basically, like top down and zoomed out.
It's supposed to be zoomed out, tactical views, things like that.
But like I really like the art style. I think the game looks really like colorful and nice, and yeah.
Oh yeah, I've had no complaints looking at it. Obviously there could be more detail, but it's like, but you don't need that level of detail when you're doing like certain things. Like you're on a more macro level. Like it's not as big of a deal. Be interesting to see what the requirements are for a game like this. I wonder what the specs are. I can't imagine they're too high.
It's
too high. I can't imagine it's too high.
It's not tiny from what I remember, but it's not outrageous either.
Yeah.
Okay. Minimum requirements, obviously Windows 10, Intel Core i7 2700K or Ryzen 5 1600X, 8 gigs RAM.
That's minimum?
That's minimum. A GTX 670 or Radeon 7870. So yeah,
that's really low. Okay, so that's really low for min.
Except for the RAM, the min specs with the exception of the RAM,
yes,
which is 8 gigabytes, but these days 8 gigabytes that's nothing, to be honest. Like, any PC you get nowadays will have minimum 8, probably 16, to be honest. Recommended, they want an i7 9700K or Ryzen 5 5600X.
Yep.
16 gigabyte RAM, graphics 1070 Ti or Radeon 5700 XT 8 gigabyte.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
So you want it. So recommended wants an 16 gigabytes RAM, a decent processor, and an 8 gigabyte graphics card.
Yeah, that's like reasonable right now for sure.
That's reasonable for like recommended specs.
Yeah, that's reasonable for sure.
If you have a PC within the last couple of years, you're probably meeting or exceeding the recommended specs.
Oh, you're exceeding them for sure. You're exceeding them for sure.
Yeah.
Unless you're on a really low budget option, but
and they're saying 20 gigabyte hard drive space, though for recommended it says greater than 20 gigabyte hard drive space, so I don't.
That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good.
I mean, if it's for any game, I expect, like, if it's 50, I'm fine. When it gets more than 50, I'm like, okay, come on.
Yeah, we're getting these bigger and bigger games. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Oh, did you see? I mean, we didn't do this, but there was a news article. Jedi Fallen Order, or no, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, or whatever it's called, the next Jedi game that's coming out at the end of the month. It is like 185 gigabytes or some nonsense.
Get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing? Did you put your whole porn file on it? Like, what the frick?
Yeah.
180 gigabytes. No freaking way. How does it even happen? Like, imagine downloading that thing. How would you download it? You're gonna wait a week. Like, what? 180. Seriously.
Sorry, 155.
That's fucking outrageous.
It's still big.
That's
but
fucking outrageous.
155 gigabytes for PC.
How fucking outrageous. Like, seriously, what do you... I actually want to know what, like, how is it 155? What'd you do? Did you, like, put 3 copies of the game on one? Like, how'd you do that? That's ridiculous. I cannot believe that that's a thing. Seriously, were they just like, yeah, fuck it, we don't know how to optimize anything? Can we compress that? Impossible. We can't compress 150 gigabytes. Like, dude, how did you do that? That's so crazy. 150. That's comical. I don't even know how that even happens. Like, Call of Duty being 100 was one thing. 150 for a single player game. That's a joke.
Yep.
Anyway. But yeah, looking forward to it. Age of Wonders looks fun. I will definitely be looking forward to playing this one. I'm not sure about the premium edition. We'll see. But for sure, the standard, you know, just diving in and giving it a shot.
Yeah. Again, I think for you,
we'll see.
yeah, I think for you know, if you're interested, then yeah, get the standard edition, see how much you like it, and if you like it enough and want to keep playing it down the line, then you know, you can go for the DLC. But
yeah, I mean, that's my thought process. But I mean, like, the game looks cool. I'm definitely like thinking this could be a really fun thing to do, for sure. And right now, like, new games on the horizon are this and Diablo, and I'm still working on, you know, Fire Emblem and all that. But like,
yeah,
Fire Emblem is
Zelda in May as well.
Yeah, Zelda in May. Forgot about that.
And actually, Redfall comes out the same day as Age of Wonders.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, there you go. Got at least 4 games there. That's 4 games there. But yeah, I got to get through Fire. Fire Emblem's a chore, man. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. You had that on the dock. I don't know if you want to chat about that a minute.
I don't. The only thing I can think of is I can't. It's hard to get into that game. My only problem with it is just it's hard to get into it because I'm like, every time I'm out of combat, it sucks. that's all I can think of. It's like, oh, I'm out of combat. This sucks.
The combat's so good, but everything else is so bad.
And like, I'll for sure be playing it again soon. I'm like, fuck. It's like, I'm out of combat. I better do push-ups.
I've seen you do this with multiple games, especially longer games. You hit a point where you're just like, you need a break, and you just take a break for a while, and then you come back, right?
And I'm just like, it's especially when there's like stuff like this. It's just like, oh god, you know, I just sometimes I just can't with games like this, where it's like, yeah, this part of it is unreal, and then you get to that the like really bad part, and you're like, oh. I could be doing anything.
I could be literally doing anything.
I could do anything right now, and I don't want to do this. I mean, another part of it is also I've just been enjoying myself playing Stardew. I just like doing my farming right now. It's been very relaxing, and like the last getting through my injury to the point where it's like normal activities are coming back.
Yeah.
And not having to think about like any sort of post-surgery recovery or other things has been great. Like, yeah, I could have played games while sitting around, but you know, outside of work, like pain management was a chore for a few weeks. So I'm sure I'll get back into Fire Emblem soon. But fuck, man, there's only so many push-ups I can do before I get pissed.
Yeah.
And then.
And how many terrible support conversations you can listen
to. I'm just gonna start skipping them. I don't care anymore. I've gotten to a point where I don't care. I've lost so much interest in the support conversations. The amount of time I have to hear about tea and food is pissing me off.
Do you even have a character that you're gonna waifu at the end of the game, or is
is there an option to do that?
Yeah, you gotta. You have to do a paralog to get it, but
I don't even care. I don't even care.
A ring that you can give to one character.
Who would I do it to? None of them are interesting. There's nothing about any of them.
For me, it was Yunaka. I actually thought Yunaka was interesting.
Oh, Yunaka's great. Like
almost nobody else.
The Haya Papaya has been the highlight for me.
Oh yeah.
The Haya Papaya is the highlight.
Papaya.
But there's like Yunaka, and then there's Ivy, who's got that thing blocking her whole fucking face. I don't even know what that is. Like, what is that? I just don't care. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Let's just do some combat. Let's fight. Let's bully some people. And
what chapter are you on?
I'm past 14. I don't remember either. It's like past 14.
Past 14. Okay.
So I got some work to do, but yeah, there's only so many times I can hear somebody say, "Let's talk about tea again," before you're like,
dude, every single one of the Firene characters is like, yeah, let's talk about tea some more.
Let's
not talk about tea.
It's like
anymore,
tea and
please.
Food, or we're just ogling the avatar. And I'm like, dude, can we talk about anything else? Can we just please anything? But yeah, and then like, I mean, starting farming has been good. It's relaxing, and I enjoy it. And I played a little. I had gotten City Skyline for free like some time ago. I decided to try it. I mean, I try it a little bit. It's pretty. I mean, it's pretty fun. Just a little city management game for like an hour when I have some time before bed. But yeah, Fire Emblem for sure. I'm gonna start actually powering through, and I say power through because I will have to power through it with every fiber of my body to ignore the tea and food conversations. And then I want to get into Dead Space.
It is
again.
not good when a game becomes a chore.
It is a chore. Man. Like, it is a chore. Like, Dead Space wasn't a chore. I just stopped. And I'm okay with that. Because I wanted to play Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem's a chore for me at times. And I'm just like, dude. I get it. The combat's great. But it's a chore to be like... I was trying to go through the supports. Now I'm just going to skip them. I'm just going to skip those. I'll do my push-ups, I'll do my cooking, and just go from there. And, like, you know, occasionally I'll have to upgrade stuff, of course. But, yeah, that's where I'm at with Fire Emblem. It's fucking chore. There are some games that I feel are a chore. Fire Emblem is definitely one of them. That is a chore. And it's sad, but it is what it is. And I know people like that game, but... It's not that I have standards, it's more just, like... I just don't want to hear about food and tea. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, I haven't followed the discourse much on it recently, but there is definitely a segment of the Fire Emblem community that, like, they love Engage. Like, this is my favorite. Like, they're like, this is my favorite Fire Emblem game because the gameplay is so good.
Yeah,
like,
I know people that are like, this is great, and that's fine for them. I'm just glad that they can ignore food and tea for hours on end, and I'm fine with that. But for me, I'm like playing this game, and then I think about Three Houses, and I'm like, man, all those characters are people.
Mm-hmm.
All these characters are hunks of wood. They're driftwood. It's just driftwood that can hit things hard. It's driftwood. And I don't know. Some of them have some personality deep down inside. I know
most of the characters are chess pieces. You don't care about them.
But yeah, that's my problem.
They're just pawns.
That's my problem.
They're not pawns. They're
my problem.
Pawns. They're not characters. Like,
it's like, whatever. That's why I'm just gonna start skipping supports. Like,
I lost my horsey. I don't know his name though. Like,
yeah, I just feel sad because I lose a chess piece. That's about it. Whereas, anyway. But yeah, it's all on Fire Emblem. Combat's great, but it's a chore, man. But yeah, other than that, I want to get into Dead Space 2. I did enjoy what I played of that. Just, I'm okay pausing that. I'm comfortable pausing it, and that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna really enjoy that. And then we'll play this, and then this is probably blasphemy, but I'm probably just gonna wait on Tears of the Kingdom until I see some people play it. I can't believe I'm sure somebody out there is gonna be like, oh my god, are you not pre-ordering? I'm just gonna wait to see somebody play it. From what I've seen of the game, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, it just looks like the other game. And we had problems with the other game. So I want to wait and see, and maybe see some bosses. People do a boss fight or two. I'm sure they're gonna have something like shrines again, where there's gonna be those puzzles.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I'm sure those will exist. My big thing is the dungeons and the bosses.
Right. I want to see that.
Those need to be better because those were terrible in the last game. But yeah, it looks like Breath of the Wild with like a few more bells and whistles. The main mechanic of this one seems to be the building thing that they showed in the last presentation, where you can just combine like anything in the world basically,
which is cool.
Build stuff. Which it's cool.
That's cool.
I can see how the game took this long to make now. Coding all that must have been a freaking nightmare.
Yeah,
to
the fusing.
Combine almost any object in the world that you find to combine it with another one. That sounds like an absolute nightmare to code.
Yeah, somebody lost some sleep on that one.
I think a lot of people lost some sleep on that one.
The whole group didn't sleep. As the Nintendo execs with their hands behind their back were like, "Why are you sleeping?" Well, sir, we're tired and this is a really tough task. we're not delaying this game again. You won't sleep this week. But I have a family. I have a family. Don't worry, we're taking care of them.
The designers of the game are like, hey, we've got this really cool idea for this like fusing, and that sound awesome. And they talk to the programmers, like the programmers are like, can we do something else though? Like,
can we try something different? And the Nintendo exec there was like, that sounds like a great idea. Looked at the development team, was like, what do you think? And they're like, sure, why not?
You want to give us 5 years to make the game? Because that's what it's gonna take.
Man, that was probably something to get going. But yeah. So I'll probably wait on Tears of the Kingdom for like a week or two just to see other people see their experiences with it. I'm sure everyone's going to adore it, but I just want to see certain things. And then Redfall will be interesting. I mean, we have, you know, it's going to be on Game Pass, so can't wait to jump in that on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's a game that, like, if you and or other people want to try it out, I'm happy to play. But I'm also happy to skip. Like, I'm happy to skip it.
Well, I got Game Pass, so I'm trying it at least.
Well, yeah, same. I also have Game Pass.
I mean, I'm trying it. I just don't know if I'll probably like have to. I don't know if I'll be able to play it on my computer or not. We'll see. We'll see how much power my computer can handle. My computer's limitations are becoming apparent.
The specs on that one I remember being pretty big.
Listen, I'm realizing the limitations of my computer, and it's oncoming when I need to start making upgrades. It's coming. I just don't know when.
They don't even have the recommended list, but minimum is an i5 8400 or Ryzen 5 1600, 16 gig. They want 16 gigabyte RAM minimum. Yeah, AMD RX 580 GTX 1070, so a 6 gigabyte card, minimum, and 100 gigabyte hard drive space.
Yeah, that's minimum. So for me,
that's minimum.
Yeah, so for me, it's like this could be a console game, is what I'm saying. It could be a console.
Oh yeah, but you have a series, or you have a series.
My console's good. My console's good. I appreciate having the console. This is why I appreciate having the console, because like when the computer can't handle it, the console's got a chance. That's why I love this stuff.
Well, you know the console is gonna run it because it has to.
It has to, like, yeah, of course. That's why I'm like, this is gonna run it. So I'm just like,
if the console doesn't run it, then the game is shit because they optimize it for console. You know they do. Because,
absolutely.
You know,
absolutely. The first and foremost thing they're gonna optimize for is console and go from there. Given the audiences. So, but anyway, all right. I don't have any other stuff though. That was just my where I'm at right now with all this. But yeah, I'm looking like next 2 months is going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
May is looking, especially beginning of May is looking hella hype, and then Diablo obviously in early June. Advance Wars also comes out this month. I'll probably play that, but you know that's a nostalgia trip for me.
That's right.
That comes out in like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, it's been in the waiting in the wings for a long time.
Yeah, over a year delay. About a little more than a year. Pretty close to just a year.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fun. It'll be Advance Wars. I like Advance Wars.
Yeah.
I haven't really been playing anything. I'm probably gonna start Trails to Azure this week.
Oh god.
The next,
okay.
The cross.
We talked about that like
game.
2 or so weeks
we talked about Zero, which is the first one.
Oh, right, we talked about Zero.
Duology. So I'm probably gonna start Azure now that I'm back. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I finished Octopath 2, which I don't need to talk about, but you know, I finished Octopath 2. Okay. Octopath 2 was really good.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that before too. So, okay, cool. Well, no more stoppages from the schedule. I think for at least a couple weeks, from what I remember. I think we should be good for a bit. So we'll be back on our normal time Saturday.
Yep. On Saturday the 15th.
The 15th, and we'll talk about some game news, and as we start approaching closer and closer to the beginning of May, I'm sure we'll have other things to talk about. Regarding Age of Wonders, and I imagine we'll get more and more Diablo stuff over the next couple weeks, and maybe Redfall and things like that.
Yeah, Redfall. I think the 20th with that dev stream for Diablo.
That'll be
we're looking at. We'll have plenty to talk about on the not next week, but the week after that for Diablo.
Right.
So
yeah. So anyway, outside of that, we'll have videos in the next couple of days from the podcast today, and we'll be back on the 15th. And yeah, that's it. So thanks, Spoon, for being able to do this today. I know you had a lot of travel today, so get some rest from that. Traveling's always tough, man. I always have a tough time traveling. And we'll be back Saturday, normal schedule. So we'll see y'all later.
See everybody.